Yeah, what's going on, everybody? Just gonna quick update. I decided I'm gonna fix the mower, the engine. So I ordered a new head off of eBay. It's an eBay head. I started cleaning it up. I took one of the valves out, but yeah, this is how it's supposed to look. So it's a used head, but it's in really good shape. It's just dirty. I'm cleaning that up. Came with a new set of push rods because my other one was bent. And then it came with a new valve cover. I've noticed this one has, it's a bit newer than mine, but that's okay. I still have my old one, so I'll probably just use that, but I have a spare one now. So there's that. And then I ordered, since I have to take the motor apart, there's the bottom seal, so I ordered that, and there's the part number. Here. And then I ordered the valve gasket set for the whole engine, for the front, for the head. This has all the gaskets in it, and there's the part number. And then I also ordered the piston kit, which there's your part number. It does look a lot better. It looks like they updated it, but it should be okay. So there's the new piston. And it does come with the new wrist pin right there. And it does come with a new set of rings, so I gotta put those on, but that shouldn't be too bad. But it does have, it's updated piston, and it's got this coating here. I don't think the old ones had that. All right, so there's that, and then the bottom seal. This is for the gasket when you take, crankcase gasket, when you take the whole pan off the bottom of the engine. And there's the part number. So all in all, I'm probably, got this for about 60 bucks, and it came out of the part, so that was a pretty good deal. And then this part was, it's about $59. I decided to get a new one. I mean, you're not really saving much, so 50 bucks. I think it was like 59, 60 bucks, and then the gasket, so probably $150 in parts. So that's not too bad. And then I did get a few other things, like I didn't have one of these. I bought this assembly lube. I did buy the valve. This is to remove the valves. You put it on the other side of the head there. So I did get that, the valve remover. And I did get, when I take the valves apart, I'm gonna lap them in. So I bought this, the lapping kit, valve lapper, and just the grinding compound. You don't use a lot of this, but I didn't have it, so. And then lastly, I bought, I'm not gonna take it out of the box yet, we'll go over this later. This is the ring expander tool for the rings for the piston. And then I bought the thing where you put the piston in to compress the rings to put them back in the cylinder, so I did buy that. So, I mean, I didn't have any of that stuff, so that'll be helpful when we put this back together. So these are the parts I'm going to use, but everything else here is done. I mean, you can see the difference. This one's all beat up. That's just not going to work. Plus it's got the hole in it from before. So yeah, I just left that. There's not much I can use off of that, but I just kept it right now for anyway. First, I'm going to clean this up a little bit more. I've just been using some carb choke cleaner. Probably like one of these pads, and I had this, been just kind of cleaning it, and I did have some really fine sandpaper I used. I think it was like, I think I just kind of briefly sanded this. I used a razor blade, scraped all that gasket crap off, and then I used like probably, I think it was just like 600 sandpaper, just slightly went over, and I used this as kind of like, just like this, I just went over it just to kind of clean all that off, so it was, doesn't have any imperfection. I'm sure there's, you know, imperfections in it, but it was dirty, but it looks a lot better than this. So, all right, so I have the valve removal in there. I kind of got a thing with a cloth on the bottom to hold it so it doesn't scratch the valve. And then what you do is, let's see if I can put it this way. Hold out like that. You just turn it. with this, and it's already compressing the valve. And then what you want to do is get in here with a magnet. Just grab that keeper. There's 2 keepers, one on each side. And then we'll just take that out, put it aside, and then just slowly release the spring. I don't want to do this because I want to clean up the head and then make sure the valve seals really well so there's good compression on the other side. And there we go. Let's take that out. Like that. Okay, put that aside. There. And then there's the spring that's come out right there. Okay, I'm gonna put that down. And then the valve should just come right out. If you can see that, you just push it and it'll come right out. And I'll just I'm gonna go ahead and clean that up because it's got a little crap on it. I'll clean that one up. I started cleaning this one up. And then when you're done, what I'm gonna do is put a little bit of this in here. Just a little bit, the lapping compound. And I'm just going down slowly. I don't want to do too much, but you just go like this. You can hear it change. I'm gonna kind of tap it. I mean, that should be good. Just to make sure it's getting a good seat in there. So let's do the other one. Let's see if I can get this off. Let's pop that one out. I cleaned the whole head up, so if you notice, it's cleaned. That took a little bit of time, but you don't need much of this on here. Just probably like, yeah, that's good. And then I'm using this Permatex valve compound. And then we'll just put it back in there and then put the suction cup on it. And then just tap it. And that's just to make sure that the valve seals against the seat. It makes the perfect. Let's wipe some of that off and see what we got. It makes a kind of a, see it? Makes like an edge there. You want to wipe that out of there. You don't want to keep it in there because it'll keep lapping it. That should be good. The edge looks pretty good. We should be good to go. I cleaned all the crap off of there too, so that should be pretty good. Pretty much it's all cleaned up, put back together. I cleaned out the ports. So anyway, I'm putting the valves back together. I got this one back on, so I need to put this other one back on. So I'm using the valve tool. And it goes on here like this. I put a piece of cardboard on this side to keep, I put a piece of cardboard over here to protect that so it doesn't scratch it. Alright, so I got this in here. It looks like this. There's the back side. And there's the side and the back. And then what we're gonna do is tighten it down some more here. And it'll bring the spring in. It'll compress it down. Okay. Enough so we can get those keepers back in there. My hand this way. It's all right. I got one in there. I don't know if you can see that, but it's in there. It's right here. And then I'm gonna get the other one. That needs to go on just a bit more. There we go. All right, you see that? It's kind of hard to see. Sorry about the angle, guys. Yeah, now we got it both in. So what I'm gonna do is make sure they're in. And we'll just release the tension. And it's wanting to move, but we're gonna make sure it's seated. I don't want the spring to fly off and hit me on the head. Yeah, that should be good. Okay, it's on. Oh, that's not too bad. And then what I would like to do is kind of like a hammer and just make sure it, just to kind of make sure it's seated in there. I hit it with a rubber hammer. We should be good to go. And I kind of put just a bit of lube on there to make sure. I'm gonna just put a little bit in there. Just kind of get it in there. Let that drain, dip down in there. You're not gonna use too much of this stuff, but just kind of. I already put some on it before I put it on there, but there we go. All right, so that's on. That is on. All right. So the valves are good. This pin out of there, I just pulled it out of there with some pliers. But this thing is so stuck. See this one, it goes in really easily and just falls out. I think because of the damage on this one, it's real tight in there, so I'm having to go at it with a hammer a bit to get it out. She's not wanting to come out of there really easy. All right, I'm gonna work on getting this out of there, and then we'll take it from there. I don't know how else to get this out of here. I think we'll have to kind of do it on an angle, maybe. It's kind of being difficult. There we go. Since that's done anyway, it's fighting us. I don't want to scratch that in there. It's being a pain. Luckily I have a new part, but I guess we're just gonna have to go for it. Just as long as this comes out of there, I don't care about that. That's good enough. All right, that seems to look all right. I don't see any cracks or damage in that, except for this slight scuffing here, and I think that's because when it hit, it kind of bent it sideways, but I'm gonna work on getting this. There on this is gonna sit down, so I'm gonna have it go this way, and that'll be the new part. I'll work on putting this together. That looks all right, so I'm just gonna put some lube on it. That's probably too much lube. That's all right. Let's get it in there. It'll be all right. Let's see. So this is going to go the arrows down that hit towards the flywheel. This is the top, so it's going to go like this. So I need to get it this way. Let's put that in there and see if we can get it in there without binding it up gently. All right, there we go. All right, that's in. That's not too bad. And I mark the top and make sure this mounts and goes the right way. Apparently they give you 2 of these. I don't know what the other one's for, but there's a ring, and that goes in there. And I got it in there opposite this little hole, and it looks like it's seated down in there. The wrist pin looks good. Just want to make sure it's in and then pop out of there. Yeah, it looks good. Just want to make sure, guys, you know, I don't have some problem with this thing popping apart. I'll just make sure it's all the way around. Yeah, that's in. I'm gonna attempt to put the rings on. There's it says you gotta put the rings. One has, can y'all see that? One has an orange and a white, and then that orange. So this one goes on the middle, and this one goes on the top. But before I do that, I have to put the oil ring on. and then the 2 oil rings that hold. And when you put these on, you want to make sure the gaps are right, and we need to check that. So we're going to go ahead and check that right now. So what we need to do is check the ring gap. So what we're going to do is the piston's going to go this way. This way. There's the arrow facing the flywheel, which is laying on the table. So the rings are going to go like that. So we need to put them in there like this. We're going to put them down so you can see what I'm doing. We're going to check the gap on that one. Okay, and then we're going to kind of push it in there with this. The ring is in there, see the gap? But I'm going to square it up with the piston. Kind of push it in. Okay, now it's in there. See if I can get you guys in there so you can see. And you can kind of still see this little gap there. And I have a gauge. And what we're going to do is find, it's supposed to be between 0.005 and 15 thousandths. So start with like 8 thousandths. That says 0.008. And what you're going to do is you're going to take that and stick it in there, and we have about, it goes all the way in. Yep, that fits in that spot. So we got 0.008. What if we go the next one up and see if that fits, just to make sure, because if it's too tight, what happens is as the engine heats up, that's gonna, and you don't want to have it so it binds up. And then of course you don't want too much space in that ring, otherwise the oil will get through. 11 thousandths. Let's see if that fits in there. Yep, that fits. And so that's still good. I don't think you want to go much beyond that though. What's the next size? Let's go 13 thousandths. Let's try that one. That's a 13. That doesn't really fit in there very good, so I think we're good. And then I'm going to check the other one, the other ring, to make sure that fits as well. So I'll do the same thing right there to check it. All right, if it was too tight, like right up to it, you don't want that. I would have to just file a little bit off, put it back in there and check it. All right, so the first thing I'm doing is putting the oil ring on, oil expander ring, and that goes on the bottom right here, like that, okay? And that gap, I'm gonna kind of put where it went together, maybe like off center. Never, for some reason, somebody told me never put it over where the wrist pin is. So you kind of want it, I want to put this one this way, another one that way. All right, so you're gonna put the other oil expander ring one below. I'm just slowly doing this. You don't want to bend them too much because they'll break. These things are really fragile. You get one in there like that. Okay, and I'm going to kind of put that going this way. One there. And then got one more on the bottom. Let's do it on, let's start it on this side. Don't want to bend it too much, so let's kind of work it in there. Because these things are really thin. Get it started. All right, I got it started. Slowly ease it in. See how where it's not meeting up, I got to go in the opposite direction, the brake on that first one. And then make sure it's all the way around, and this one's the opposite of that side. So I kind of got them opposite. I'm going to kind of move it maybe more like right there on that one. And maybe right here on this one. Like right about there. So they're opposite. All right, now we need to get, the directions say the stripes need to be to the right of the gap. So we're gonna go the 2.1 first. This one, the 2 colors. So we're gonna put that one in the middle. So we're gonna get our ring expander tool and insert that in there and open it up. And then we're gonna put that one going in the middle. So let's get that in the middle. And then get it over the gap. Like that. Careful with it. Okay, so we got that one in. All right. Like that. We'll have one going this way. And then we need the other one going on the other side. Don't want to expand it too much, but like right about there is good. And let's put that one going this way, like that. All right, there we go. I'm going that way. And I'll put some lube on this, of course, but I'm just kind of getting them installed. And then when going this way, I'm gonna have them completely the opposite direction, and we'll kind of make sure this one on the bottom's kind of offset differently than the rest of them. All right, so we got the rings installed. Excellent. The next thing I'll use is a Carburetor spring compressor. This is what this looks like. And then I'm gonna put this in there. I'm gonna open it up, and then we'll put that in the engine. All right, guys, I opened that up. I put the piston in there. I got it sitting like that. Okay, let's get this paper towel out of the way, and I'm gonna just crank it gently to compress the rings with the key. Making sure we have this in the right direction. I already made sure the rings are all facing opposite ends again. Just make sure I'm looking in there to make sure it's not bound up funny or something. It's not crooked. All right. And then the next thing I'm gonna do is I'll have it over there on the engine. I'm gonna like put that up against the block and then tap that in. All right, I'm gonna put some lube in there and kind of, before I get this going. That should be enough. Let's get it all in there. Make sure we got it in there like that. Just take our time so I don't break anything. Make sure we got it straight in there. It's not crooked. Going in a little crooked. Don't want to do that. Make sure we're straight in there. Rotate it up. There we go. Going a little crooked. We don't want to go crooked. Here, let's see. There we go, guys. She's in. I'll just make sure it's not bound up. Let's check it. It worked out pretty good. Yeah, that looks all right. I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go with that as done. All right, now I gotta the fun part of putting all this back together and see if it'll run. That'll be. I think it'll be all right. Yeah, that looks a lot better than the old one. Yeah, that's a little difference. Be able to cut my grass again this week, hopefully. All right, so what I'm doing right now is I'm attempting to fix this part that broke off, which is this. This piece came off the carburetor. So what I'm gonna do is I found this piece, and this piece fits on the hose. I'm gonna put this in here. This will fit down this tube. It's a temporary fix like that. I put gloves on, especially when you're working with this, because get it on your hand, it's not fun to get off. I think engine cleaner will get it off, but I don't want to try tonight. So let's mix equal parts of this. I don't need much. Let's see if this will even come out. There we go. There's one side. Where's the other stuff? That should be enough. That's more than enough. Let's wipe the excess off. Okay, let's put the lid back on. Alright. JB Weld plastic bonder. Let's see if that'll work on this. I don't know. I'm not a fan of this plastic carb. Everything seems to be going to that now with this plastic stuff. I don't like it. But I guess you got to go with the Vanguard stuff to get the metal carb. I know this is the Nicky carb. Yeah, this is the Nicky. I think it's the Nicky 6, which if anybody who follows the Terrell, he doesn't like this one. But he said the Walboro's better, but I can't find a Walboro, so this one works fine. But if it blows up, or something happens with this one, I'll see if I can find a different kind. But these are cheap. I mean, it's got a plastic. I don't like it, but it's what came with the mower, so we're just gonna put some glue on it since it's plastic anyway. All right, we're gonna mix that up. And then let's make sure it's mixed up real good. What does this say? I think you gotta have it set. It says apply immediately, so let's do that. I don't need much, but I want to get it on there, so we just want to get it so it nice and glue. I don't want to get it in that hole though. This is the only piece I have right now to fix this problem. I don't know what happened. I tried to take it off and the whole thing broke. So that's typical. Plastic. Well, that should be enough. So let's see if we can just put that in there like that. I'm just gonna twist it in as far as it'll go. Oh yeah, that'll hold good. That'll be my temporary repair. I think that's the, this is the intake for the fuel. I think this is the overflow that goes back to the tank. So, it should be all right. It's good stuff. Fills in the holes pretty good. All right, that's my attempted repair on that. Just wipe off the extra. Now it's good. I'm just gonna let that sit up. That should be good. I'll just set that over here. Let it dry overnight. Give it a nice amount of time. All right, well that's fixed. All right, so I'm putting the bolts in. Just hand getting them in there. Ready to put the other end of the connecting rod on. I'm just hand tightening these because it's such a tiny space to get in there. It's just hard to get the actual socket in there. All right, that's on. I'm just gonna tighten it. That one and that one. Let's look at the torque spec chart. Anyway, I printed it out to get all the torque specs. It's very tiny print, but I do have it. All right, connecting rod inch-pounds is 150, so that's about 10. All right, I got the torque wrench in there. I have it set to about 15. It says 12, but it doesn't do 12, so we'll just go with 15. Let's see if we can get it to click. There we go. All right, 15 it is.
torquing that bolt. Let's see what we get here. Just gotta have it a certain way. And there, it's in. All right, here we go. One. I don't want to go too much. Let's make sure that's on. Yeah, that's okay. 15. That's as low as this thing will go. It'll work. Make sure we're rotating. That's just the cardboard on the other side. Yep. All right, we good. All right, so the next thing I'm gonna do is, probably don't wanna see all this, but I'm gonna get this gasket crap off of here, this junk. So I can put the new gasket on. I'm gonna put these other parts back together. I'll show you that, but first I'm gonna scrape the gasket off. All right, I got all this crap cleaned out. I got the gasket area cleaned out. I got all that crap off of there. I put the tappets in with some assembly lube. And then this needs to go in next. And the timing mark needs to line up. So we need to have it line up right there. That with that dot, right? So we're good on that. And then we need to put this piece just like it was. It's gonna rest like that. Yep. Oh, that looks all right.
All right, so I cleaned this up. Cleaned the pan up as best as I could. Got it cleaned up. I put a new oil filter on it because that one is probably, I don't know, I'm afraid it might have stuff in it from when the engine broke. So we're gonna keep the metal out of there. So I got a new filter. There's the part number for this engine. And I'm just gonna take a little bit of lube. And that should be all right. I'll just do this. Okay. And then we're going to get it on there. New filter. This hand tighten. That should be good. All right, and now I need to get this out of here. It's probably broken anyway. So we're just gonna tap that out. Got the seal out. That's the old one. It looks like I busted the spring on that, but that's okay. So let's wipe this out a bit. So when you put the new seal in there, you don't want to cover that hole. So you kind of want to just recess it a little bit. And I kind of marked where it should be. You can kind of see where it's been. So I'm just going to go down to that point. All right, here's the new seal. I took it out of there. 795-387. 1 7/16 socket. That seems to fit pretty good. And then we kind of want to recess it a little bit. So I'm going to go a little more. And make sure we're going straight on there. That looks pretty good. If you can see this here, you can still see the hole in there. Right there. You don't want to cover that hole up in there. Right in there. You want to make sure that's open, but you want to make sure it's recessed. And I'm just making sure I got it in there level. That looks pretty good. Now let's see how this goes. Looks like it goes like that. There's little pins on here. All right. I already sanded all this down, so we should be good there. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna put a little grease on this to kind of hold it in place because it's moving around. I want to make sure it seals properly, so I'm gonna use just some grease. A little bit on there. A little dab on there. Like right here would be good. Just to kind of stick it. I think there's some stuff you can spray on here to stick it down so it stays, but that should be good. I just want to make sure I get a good seal on this. Let's see, it goes like that. Alright, yeah. I'm just going to ease it in slowly. Make sure we're not bound up any wires or anything. Yep. It's going to be tricky. So make sure we get it in there because it's starting to peel back on the edge. And I'm just going to kind of make sure that goes in there all the way because you don't want to roll it the opposite way. Yeah, it's just getting it started. It's probably a little tricky. I'm just making sure it's under that edge and it's not getting bound up on anything. Just kind of tap it. Just check and make sure it's not getting bound up in there again. That can be kind of a pain. It's going together slowly. I'm gonna make sure we're good. Yeah, that's looking good, guys. All right, just getting the bolts in there. I want to get them in there so that gasket doesn't move. This bolts are supposed to be 180 inch-pounds. I do have an inch torque wrench, but I don't have the conversion for this socket, and this is easier to get the leverage with. So I'm just gonna go with this, and I set it to 18 divided by 12 is about 15 foot-pounds. So I get it pretty close to that. So I'm just gonna go in a cross pattern. Click. I need to get this off and put that oil because it's impossible. It's really hard to line that up. But I need to put this back in here because that goes into the cam and runs the oil pump. So now that everything's back together, we'll just set this over here. I'm going to take this cover off and hopefully not strip the bolts because I got this thing He-Man'd on there as usual. Yeah, see, it's easy to strip. I don't want to do that. There's one. I'm just going slow so I don't strip it. 2. Let's go closer in because we're getting a lot of angle on that. I don't want to strip it. 3. All right, let's get that apart. Yeah, I saw somebody strip these online. We don't want to do that. So let's get this cover off. Okay.
cover off. Screws. Yeah, there's a little bit of wear on that, huh? Just a bit. I don't know if that's because of when we had a little incident in there. I'm just gonna leave this on there like that because it's on there, not to break the seal on that. And we need to put this piece in that hole and let it get it lined up. This piece down in there. Let it turn it. Okay, it's in there. And now we need to put this gear in there. I'm just gonna put it back in the way we got it. All right, now it's in there. So I'm gonna put that cover back on.
All right, so I opened up the gasket kit, and there's two types of gaskets. There's this one, head gasket, and then there's this one. I'm gonna go with this one because my old one that I took off, I still saved. So here's the old one, and it even says 31 on there, on the old one. So we're gonna go with that. We're gonna go with 31, and it comes with some other, it looks like there's another head gasket it comes with, whatever 33 is for. Don't know, it's probably maybe for some other engine. And then we have a new exhaust manifold, a new intake manifold gasket for the carburetor, and then this one comes with a valve cover gasket. So I'm going to try to roll with that instead of the RTV caulk. I don't really like doing that, so we're going to use that just in case I have to take this apart again and adjust the head. I mean, adjust the valves. All right, so I got the gasket on there. Let's get that in. All right, and then we're gonna look at the head to make sure that's lined up. And we need it this way. This is easier to do it this way to make sure there's no crap on there, so that looks pretty good. All right, make sure there's nothing in there. Yeah, that looks all right, that's good enough. Alrighty. That is on. Alright, so I'm gonna get all the bolts in and then I'm gonna torque it down. And it said 220, so we'll figure out that calculation. So I'm gonna go ahead and put all the bolts in. On, gaskets on, and then I'm going to torque it to 220 inch-pounds. All right, so 220 is about 20 on the torque wrench. 3/8. I got it set to about 18-ish. We're just going to torque it down. Let's start with, I think there's an order to this, so let's start with the top. Do this one. Just gonna get them tight and I'll torque it. And then we'll go up here, cross pattern, and then we'll go up here.
get the push rods in there. So that's the top of the engine going that way. So we want to put the exhaust is up here on the top, and the aluminum one goes on the intake side. I'm just making sure it's sitting in that cup at the bottom. I need these little parts to go up here before we get started. Those need to be up there. 5/8 wrench, and I have a, what is this? A T20 bit. All right, so I already loosened these up. These are the set screws, but we need to, we'll start with the bottom and make sure this is, I'm gonna rotate the engine and make sure it's not, all right, so that one's gone all the way down, so that's fine. We can put it on this stroke. All right, so that one should be loose. All right, so we got that one all the way down, so we know this one's good. So this one is 4 thousandths we're going for. So we're gonna stick this in here. Just kind of loosened it. Let's see what kind of drag we get. That's too tight. That's too tight. I'll back it up a little bit. Too tight. We're gonna go right there. Yeah, that's good. All right, so I'm gonna leave that in there. And then tighten it with this. All right, so I'm gonna adjust this one, the exhaust valve. That one's gonna be 6 thousandths. I'm gonna rotate the engine. All right, that one's on its down one. So let's, yeah, that's gonna go tight a little more. Let's tighten that up. And it's just loose. Yeah, that's not enough. Back it off. Back that off just a little bit. That's probably good right about there. Take that, put a wrench on it, hold it, and then tighten with this. All right, let's see what that does. Let's check it. Yeah, that's good. Got the gasket on. I'm just going with the gasket. If it leaks, I'll put some caulk on it, but I really don't like caulk. So top. This is so much easier when it's this direction. Just want to hand tighten these. You don't want to torque them down too much. Get it back on the mower. I'm gonna clean that up. I'm not gonna keep you through that whole thing. I mean, it's just gonna take a lot of time and be a very long video. So I'm gonna get the engine back on the mower. So there's 4 bolts. 1, 2, where is it? Right here. And then 3 in the back, and then 4 way over in there. I'm just gonna tighten those up. Pretty much all of this back together. It was kind of a chore. This side wasn't so bad, but putting the carburetor back on was interesting, making sure all the springs were okay.
Yeah, I'm just gapping the plug.
And I just put it in there. And right about there is good. And then I put some anti-seize on there. Alright guys, putting some oil in this thing finally. I think we're getting close to being done with it. Everything else is connected. And this is all I have. I have Shell Rotella 540. That's what's going in there. It's about a quart. Just pour some in there. I'll have to check it. Alright, let's check it out. This stuff's good. It's got extra zinc in it. Oh, that's almost up to the top. That's like perfect. Alright, well, let's see what we get. Let's get on there. Let's buckle in. Let's see what we get. Choke. Gonna let it idle a little bit.
All right, everyone, just kind of a follow-up on the D105. Again, everything's back together. And I did mow my yard with it. I put about 3 or 4 hours on it since the rebuild, and everything's been fine. I checked the oil, everything's good, nothing's leaking, seals are good. So that one about wraps it up, guys. I appreciate you watching, and if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Thanks for watching.